What up, YouTube? It's Rob Monty here. Just chilling it here, bringing you guys some more wrestling news. Alright, so today we're going to start off big. And the main reason is because in the last couple of days, a lot of you guys who are fans of the Wrestling Observer and a fan of Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez, you know how I've been telling you guys that you should take their words for grains of salt? Because it's not necessarily always going to be true. Well, guess what? First thing on the news today, we're bringing you something. You know how last week I had a video about Ric Flair signing with WWE? He had re-signed with WWE, right? Well, Dave Meltzer decided to go on his little wrestling newsletter. Uncle Dave typed it in saying, Ric Flair is leaving the WWE. And basically, it set off the whole entire wrestling world as far as the fans go. Mainly, I saw a couple of different YouTube channels, other than myself, that have been reporting this. For one, there was What Culture. Can't hate those guys. I mean, they try and follow everything as they go, and they do it constantly. I would trust them over a lot of other guys when it comes to wrestling news. On top of that, even WrestleMania has even Talk Wrestling has talked about it. Cultaholic has even talked about it. A couple other Talk Wrestling podcasts have talked about Ric Flair leaving ever since Uncle Dave reported this. And the reason why I'm calling him Uncle Dave is because I'm standing on the post about Dave Meltzer along with Jim Cornette, and that's just because Corny, as you guys know, is damn well disappointed in Dave Meltzer, you know. And quite honestly, after today, like I knew it was going to happen because I remember reading that article last week about Ric Flair signing with WWE last week, right? Well, guess what comes out this morning? For those of you guys who are fans of Ric Flair. All right, you guys want to see? You want to see? Ric Flair has confirmed he has re-signed with WWE. And this is what it says here in this article. It was reported earlier this month Ric Flair was signed a new contract with WWE. Flair's previous contract expired in 2019. On this Thursday, Flair took it to his official Twitter account where he confirmed he's with the WWE. And basically, this is what Ric Flair had to say just today, guys. Just today. Ric Flair came out and said, limousine ride, jet flying, styling and profiling. Then, now, and forever with the WWE. Woo! And in this process, guys, this is what he posted up on his Twitter. His actual signature of his new contract with the WWE. So, for Uncle Dave to be saying that Ric Flair has left the company, if that's true, Rick, I mean, let us know, Rick, is that true or not? Or is this bullshit that Dave Meltzer is giving? Because quite honestly, I believe 110% this is nothing more than bullshit from Dave Meltzer, where he's full-on bullshitted his audience into believing, well, Sting left, now Flair's gonna leave, you know, frick. Hey, you know, the Young Bucks have the better matches in the Midnight Express. Oh, Kenny Omega, you know, he's the Bret Hart of his time. I'm like, fucker. Or go like, oh no, Okada, you know, Okada's the Shawn Michaels of this generation. I'm like, the flying fucking fuck? Uncle Dave, guys, what I'm saying here is, if you are a fan of the Wrestling Observer, you just been had by Dave Meltzer. Because Ric Flair has re-signed with the company and has shown you proof of authentication that he has re-signed with the company. He's showing you guys a small piece of his contract to show you that he had signed. So for those of you who think Uncle Dave is right all the time, proof. This is why I say, guys, when you guys look for wrestling sources, doesn't matter if they're on YouTube, doesn't matter if they're on the internet, doesn't matter if they have a newsletter, make sure that you understand where they get their sources from. Because if they're getting sources from third source parties, it's not necessarily true at all. It would have been more true if it was a secondary source, let alone it would have been more true if it was a primary source. If you don't know what a primary source is, everyone, that's the main source of the whole information. This would have been basically, I'll give you a good example. Uncle Dave reported this. He's a third source. He wasn't there for any of it, so he cannot be a secondary source. Ric Flair signed the contract with Vince McMahon. He was in the freaking building while signing his contract with WWE. Yeah. He's more, you know what source he is? He's a damn primary source. And for those of you guys who don't know what a primary source is, it's like Ric Flair should have been the first person you asked if he left WWE. You should have either asked him or Vince McMahon or anybody working in the WWE. Even the guys underneath Vince and all that would have been secondary sources, but you wouldn't go to Uncle Dave to find out about Ric Flair's status with WWE. You know, you gotta take, when you see his shit, you gotta take it with a grain of salt. That's why when I go on different YouTube channels to watch what they're doing for wrestling news, I gotta tell you guys, I could probably go on record and basically rebuttal them, and then, or even pick stuff out that I do agree with them on, you know. And this is just one of those things, because a lot of the guys who are on YouTube have already jumped the gun and reported that Ric Flair had left WWE. And I'm pretty sure if they already uploaded already, they're probably like, our bad, our bad, our bad, our truth bad, you know, basically. So, it's not their fault. It's not their fault. What culture and Cultaholic, it's not you guys' fault for reporting it. It's more Dave Meltzer's fault, because he basically bullshitted the entire wrestling universe on saying that Ric Flair was leaving WWE, which to me is not cool at all, Uncle Dave. Get your shit right, I say. Alright, now, going on to other news, Cody Rhodes was interviewed this past week on F4W Online, and basically was asked about COVID-19 testing, the TNT title, and Double or Nothing. Let's take a look what he had to say. Of course, this is the Wrestling Observer Online, apparently, reporting this. Cody says 90% of what fans will see at Double or Nothing is what was creatively planned for prior to the pandemic. If you guys want my honest opinion of that, sure, Uncle. Sure, guys, why don't you show us the wrestling plan so we know what's going on? Oh, wait, you will spoil the show that way. So, I don't trust that at all. Next one. Cody puts over the diversity of matches on Double or Nothing and how they want it to be the best damn buffet possible of wrestling and JN. I'm like, you guys want my honest opinion, and that is like, alright, I'm pretty sure Cody wants his wrestling show to be the best damn buffet possible for wrestling. But how am I knowing this is Cody and not you guys? That's a good question. And then the last one, the next one would be the TNT Championship. Cody says TNT Champion won't be in the top 5 rankings for the world title. Won't look at him as number 1 and number 2 because they don't know what it will turn out to be. Says he hasn't even seen the belt. I would guess so because he's in the tournament, right? First and foremost, that is a red flag in my opinion. I understand the TNT Championship is supposed to be a secondary belt to AEW, but if you're going to tell them that you want to look at them as number 1 or number 2 in your rankings, let me ask, is that because champions... And it should be a good question to ask AEW for, you know? Is that because champions are not ranked because they're the champions? Because to me, I think the secondary champion can always challenge the primary champion, which would be the world title, you know? So that's just my honest opinion in general. So, and the fact that he says he doesn't know what it will turn out to be, it kind of worries me, because it's like you and Tony Khan Tony Khan, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks have decided to make this title. How do you not know what the fucking plan is? What the fuck? You know? Second of all, I'm going to ask the Wrestling Observer, you sure Cody wasn't kayfabing you and being in character for this interview that you had apparently with him? Oh, man. That's a good question to ask, isn't it? Alright, another one is this. Cody looking forward to Brody Lee's match Saturday, and says they quickly went from a light heavyweight company to featuring a lot of bigger guys like Lee, Archer, etc. That is partially true. They did go from being just the cruiserweights or lightweight guys, you know, light heavyweight type of athlete, to bringing in heavyweight juggernauts such as Lance Archer and Brody Lee. And like most people, I'm excited to see this match, because I think Brody Lee's going to show what he has to offer for being a singles main eventer. And I think Jon Moxley's going to go out there and put on a good show. So, in all retrospect, I'm hoping for a good match out of this. I know Jim Cornette has already said, "Oh, this is going to be a shit in the pan, turd in the punch bowl." But that's Cornette, and as far as I'm concerned, I hope the match is great. I'm going to take it for what it is when it comes out. That's what I'm saying. Just letting everybody know, because I know I've went off on Uncle Dave saying that Kenny Omega is the new Bret Hart, and some of you guys probably agree with that. Let me tell you this. Kenny Omega is a great star. I actually enjoy watching Kenny Omega. Do I feel like he does too much shit than he needs to? Yes. Is he a great talent? Yes. Is there anything bad to say? Well, just like any other wrestler out there, there's good and bad. If anybody knows any other thing bad about Kenny Omega, say something. As far as the Young Bucks, I like the Young Bucks as a tag team. I consider them top 5, you know, of best tag teams in the world. However, they do a lot of crazy, stupid shit that they don't necessarily need to do a lot of times. And quite honestly, this is seen in most of their indie matches. It's like, you're doing too much high spots, guys. Too much high spots. It's like it's hard to keep up sometimes. So, you know, that's my negative on the Bucks. But other than that, they're a great tag team. Very great tag team. I consider them top 5 in the world with the Usos, the New Day, God. Who else is out there that I would think would be good? The North is pretty good. I like the North. Were they in my top 5? I don't remember. But I know the Young... Okay, now I remember who was number 5. Pride and Power, which would be Ortiz and Santana. I always felt those guys were up there with the Bucks, Usos, and the New Day, and God. So they're... And then I think right after Pride and Power would be Gallows and Anderson. And then followed by the Revolt. And then after that, there's other great tag teams out there that makes a good top 10. But when I look at the top 5 best in the world, these are the guys who are setting the tag team world on fire. And to me, I know a lot of people will probably get upset when I say I believe the Usos or the New Day are the best 2 tag teams in the world. And it's because they don't agree with it, because it's just WWE. But when you actually watch those 2 guys go at it in a rivalry, especially in the 1 and 2 years ago, I'm going to say, I mean, they stepped up the tag team division real good. I mean, a lot of their matches were very, very good. Really fucking good. And on top of that, it gave the tag team division in WWE more personality than it ever did. So, I mean, I don't know if that's something to consider, but that's a fact of what I'm going with. As far as the Young Bucks go, I feel like they're the best tag team outside of WWE, just because of the fact that they're setting the world on fire. They got AEW with with their friends, and then on top of that, you know, I swear they're selling a lot more merch than most people would be. So, in general, and then on top of that, they have a lot of personality. That's what I like about the Young Bucks there. Do I feel like they need to do a lot of the flips, all the flips and dives that they do a lot of times? Like, when they overdo it, it kills it for me. When they do it just right, it's good for me. You know, that's just my honest opinion. When you overdo shit, it's like, dude, did you really need to throw the kitchen sink in there? Because I don't think the kitchen sink needed to be there. That's just my honest opinion. And that's what happened with the Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley match for me, too, guys. So, they threw in too much. I think they threw in the kitchen sink, the car, and the refrigerator. No, not the refrigerator, because that's Randy. They threw everything in there, including a pipe that was in the ground for the grass to get watered. Basically, yeah, that was just too much for one match. And quite honestly, it could have been a better performance if they just finished it a lot sooner. That's just my honest opinion, guys. I'm not trying to down the match. I know a lot of people loved it. That's just my opinion. All right. So now, more so on this interview, Cody says plan right now is for AEW to stay at Jacksonville. As far as moving around opens up more risk. Decision isn't completely up to him. Safest decision is to stay in Florida as the pandemic is going. I agree with this statement, and I think it's the same thing with WWE at this time. Even though they're all probably finding different places to go perform because places are opening up now due to the pandemic, slowly receding, you know, things are slowly trying to go back to normal. I think it's safe to stay in Florida in general for anybody who is working out of Florida. So if WWE's got to do it in the Performance Center, they got to do it in the Performance Center, or do something in Florida in general. Get a crowd in Florida, and I think that's the plan to do for AEW as well. So WWE can be Orlando, AEW can be Jacksonville, you know? I think that would be the best decision for both companies just in general, because apparently Florida has planked the curve so much that they don't even have much cases there. They have the least amount of cases. Them in Texas have the least amount of cases of COVID-19. So, in general, I think that's the safest places you can go to host a show and people can go to and have a live audience, or even just keeping talent safe or keeping your employees safe, you know? I think that's a very, very legitimate answer right there, and a true answer. And then they asked him about COVID-19. Cody talked about the COVID-19 testing they have been doing. It's not done at a daily's place, daily's place, or around other wrestlers, staff, and even wrestlers and staff are tested in separate places. Notes that production wouldn't shut down with a positive test. So, basically what Cody's saying here, according to him, is what Cody's saying, because I'm not taking the Wrestling Observer for a word, and if this is Cody, please confirm that this was you. But anyway, what he's saying is for their COVID-19 testing, they're not having it in the same place as the other wrestlers are having their test. In fact, their testing are taking place in other areas, different offices, maybe different tents. Mainly because they want to protect the talent and staff as best as possible. That way, when they come in for production, it wouldn't shut them down right away if they were to come across a positive test. Basically, I think that's a smart move. I hope someone does that, because, you know, when it comes to putting up a wrestling show, you want to make sure you have your talent, your staff, everything there, you know. And you want to make sure production's still able to run, even if somebody is sick. If you're gonna run the show, I mean, to keep everything separate helps everybody. That way, not everybody is gone from the show because they somehow contracted COVID-19. but also it would give the company enough time before that person comes into work to basically tell them, hey, don't come in today, and we got your results and it's not good. Hope you get well. Take the best precautions possible. That kind of stuff. So, honestly, guys, what do I think about this interview in general with the Observer and Cody? I want Cody to be confirming this, And if this is Cody, I mean, this is some accurate stuff, but the thing that bugs me the most out of this interview is the TNT Championship, because of what is its purpose and what it's going to do. That's just my opinion where it's going to be. And then on top of that, guys, like I said, I'm not down on AEW just because Uncle Dave loves AEW. I'm not. I'm actually a fan of certain guys there. I mean, I like Christopher Daniels for one. Scorpio Sky is going to be amazing talent. And then on top of that, Young Bucks and Kenny, I mean, I think they're great. I think Cody is probably the best guy they got. And Jericho, he's always going to be a legend. Don't ever doubt Chris Jericho of ever being less than what he is, because he's actually a true legend of the business and cares about the business. So I'm never going to down Chris Jericho on that. Alright, next. NXT TakeOver in Your House theme song has been announced, and Triple H has announced it as this, which is bringing back WWE history, also means bringing back NXT history. So, Code Orange, TOTH, is going to be performing their song Underneath, and is going to be back at NXT in Your House. So, for those of you guys who love Code Orange, it's Underneath. It's coming back for TakeOver. Let me take a little bit of a hearing on this, because I don't even know if I heard it correctly, last time I listened to Code Orange. Alright. Alright, guys, that's a little bit. Yeah. So, guys, NXT TakeOver House. NXT TakeOver in Your House. Main theme will be known as Underneath from Code Orange, and it's been announced by Triple H today. Alright, next is WWE Backstage is set to move back to its normal time next month. So it'll come back on normal time on Fox Sports 1. And 12 a.m. It's going to be 12 a.m. its usual time slot. 11 p.m. Eastern. The reason the show was delayed this past week, though, was due to NASCAR's race. And the show will be moving back on June 2nd. So, if you're a fan of NASCAR will be on before the WWE special documentaries, such as Future of FCW Story and WWE Backstage. And on June 2nd, everything will be back to normal. Alright. Now I have to entertain you guys, because I know there's some fans out there who are fans of the Bellas. I'm not necessarily caring about Nikki or Brie Bella talking about stuff, but I know there's fans who love Nikki Bella and the Bella Twins and Brie in general. So let's go with it. So on her recent interview with Maria Menounos, Nikki Bella commented on her new book, her breaking up with John Cena, and more. And the big story today, guys, on Nikki Bella is she talks about her breakup and talks about the Cena sex story. I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be too juicy details, and it's taken out from her book. So, first off, she talks about their relationship. She says, with John, though, wasn't like there was anything bad written. So that, like, to me, I know when people hear that side, it was more beautiful things that was, like, taken out or a few struggling things. But I'm like my own inner struggle, because I do have to say overall we did have an incredible relationship. It was just two people who wanted different lives, but we were trying so hard to make it one. Even in the end, when he was willing to give me kids, I could just tell it's not what he wanted, and that's what really what pushed me in the end. And it's like, I'm gonna force someone to be a father. What if, I'll never forget, I think it was my coach who said, what if he looks at you down the road and regrets everything, just regrets everything, and you just have this child and you built this life? Is that what you want? And I remember thinking, it's like, it's not what I want. I don't want to force someone to change if that's what they don't want to do. I want someone to come to me and be like, I want to have a kid with you. I can't wait. Like, even now being with Artem, how he looks at me and knowing that I'm like bringing his child in the world, and we're growing a family. Like, you crave that from someone, and I was pushing it on someone. You know, a lot of guys I commend Nikki for being brutally honest about this. However, I think there's a lot of guys like myself who will probably tell her that, well, how good of you. Too bad some people aren't like you. That's just my honest opinion. And what I mean by that, guys, is just, I know some guys, they were forced to become fathers because they just, they fooled around with a girl, and the girl trapped them with having sex with them. And next thing you know, they have a kid and together, and some of them, they don't like being a father. Some of them do, some of them don't. Just saying. But in this case, I commend her for doing the right thing in this, because she broke up with him because she felt selfish. Do I feel like Cena was selfish in this sense? It's like, no, I feel like Nikki was more selfish, and I think she realized it, and that's why she got out of the relationship. Did it hurt John? I feel bad for John, but you know what? John's been a stronger person since, and he's actually having a great time of his life right now in Hollywood, and it's not like he didn't find someone else. Personally, do I agree with her? You shouldn't force someone something that they don't want to do. I'm kind of iffy on that, because some people just do force things on people, and then there's some people who don't. If this is what she wants, then that's her final word. Now, going on, she talks about a sex story from John in her book, which to me is like, my God, are you really gonna air her dirty laundry? So, let's read what she had to say. It was just one of those moments. But I remember when I was just shocked with certain beautiful things that were taken out of the book, and I was like, there was one sex story that I understood, which is great for him. So that's why it's kind of like, don't you want high fives on that? But I get it. We were wild, he's strong, so it was a great story. But it was like, he was so private, and I came into his life, and he opened it up, and that's what made me feel bad. Was like, I'm not that person. It's the same with Artem. Like, I'll just say stuff in front of Brie, in front of him, and he's like, did you just say that? I don't have a filter. I don't know what to tell you. You don't want me any other way, I'll explode. But WWE was funny. There was few stories that they took out of protection. But you want my honest opinion about that is, woman, you shouldn't share stuff in the bedroom. You should never share stuff in the bed from the bedroom. If you are gonna do that, you don't put it in your book. You just tell it to people who you're close to. I mean, frick. I don't think a lot of people would have appreciated that story as much as she thinks it would have. You know. But then again, there's people who are, perverted like that, I guess. But that's just my honest opinion. Do I know if there's some people who would be interested in hearing this story? Guys, give me your thoughts on that. What do you guys think? Would you guys love to hear a John Cena sex story from Nikki Bella? And would you like her to write a book about it? Me personally, I would find it, if I was John in that position, I would be very, very offended, because it's like, why are you sharing our sex stories from the bed, man? Like, why? Why? So, I think she even understood that, and that's why she didn't put it in her book. But the fact that she mentions it, to me, is like, ugh. You really, really are asking for trouble there, in my opinion. And it's kind of the, I don't want to say like the one night in China thing, but that's what it's kind of like. But, oh man. Anyway, if you guys want to catch the rest of this interview with Nikki Bella, it's on Better Together with Maria Menounos. And check out their book, The Incomparable. On The Incomparable. If you ask me on this, guys, with Nikki, I don't know why she would want to do that. I mean, that's something private. Fuck. I mean, I know girls these days, they don't mind showing stuff that's private online nowadays, but damn, what the hell, man? And quite honestly, I like John. He's a great man, cool dude. Met him in real life. He's really, really, really cool. He was cool to me and a couple of other fans anyway when we were waiting for them. He shook hands with us, along with Randy that night. So, I have no problem with John Cena. I don't have a problem with the Bella twins, but if Nikki's going to share a sex story, I'm kind of grossed the fuck out already, I was already grossed out with the Hulk Hogan sex tape. Come on, folks. Alright, speaking of women, Lana has posted a new video of herself in a bikini. Can I show this on YouTube? Wait. She has her own channel, or is I better not. I better not, because I don't want to get copyright on top of me. I could have gotten that from the song already, but I don't want any issues with Lana. I mean, come on, guys. She screams her head off like crazy. And plus, I don't want to get into a fight with Miro. I mean, he'd probably just come in and go like, "Hey, buddy, I heard you was checking out my wife." Like, ugh. I want to get my ass whipped by Rusev today, guys. All right, and also today is I'm going to send out a happy birthday to Mr. T at the age of 68 today. Mr. T has turned 68 today, folks. Make sure y'all, if you guys get a chance to, say happy birthday to WWE Hall of Famer Mr. T. A-Team, guys, A-Team. Also, don't forget about Mr. T's mama. Also, Thursday would have been the 53rd birthday of Chris Benoit. I'm just going to leave it at that and just say, you guys say happy birthday if you want to Chris Benoit in heaven or hell, whatever he is, just, that's totally up to your discretion. I choose not to mention it as much. For obvious reasons, folks. For obvious reasons. Bronson Reed tweeted the following. And that is revealing that he can slam anyone. That includes Karrion Kross. And he goes on and says, "There's no one on NXT that I can't slam over my head. Karrion Kross, easy work." So I guess I can't wait to see that happen. Oh man. Next, speaking of Karrion Kross, we'll go right into that story before we go into Vince Russo. Okay, he took to Twitter this week to talk about his match with Tommaso Ciampa at TakeOver in Your House. In which he says, the term home invasion comes to mind. I'm coming in your house. Fall and pray. So, if you guys want to know... Oh, and Scarlett even said, it's going to be a massacre. Talk about a date night. Holy shit! Oh, man. I'm already liking Karrion Kross and Scarlett together, guys, in this whole thing more so now. Especially now how they're making it like, okay, I like the whole idea. It's going to be Ciampa versus Kross in your house. And you know what, folks? The fact that Scarlett Bordeaux and Karrion Kross is turning this into a date night, I'm like, oh my god, this is going to be fucking fun. I can't wait for this pay-per-view when it comes out on June 7th. Ciampa versus Kross. This is going to be a fucking battle. And like Scarlett said, it's going to be a massacre. Because these two guys are going to beat the shit out of each other. It's going to be awesome. And you know what? When you see somebody like Karrion Kross being excited about this, you know Ciampa's excited about this. So, in my honest opinion, come TakeOver in your house. These guys are going to have fun with each other that night. And Scarlett's going to be there being the freaking, just being Scarlett, man. Just freaking going to be awesome for TakeOver in your house. Alright, Bully Ray compares AEW's Marko Stunt to an ex-WWE superstar. And this is what he had to say. And I knew who he was going to say. He went on the Chris Van Vliet show and basically said, look at Marko Stunt. AEW fan base loves Marko. There's your spike. You know, the AEW guys or some of the WWE guys who need to flourish, or maybe guys and gals that weren't given an opportunity. So they are doing something very fun in the wrestling business. And the word fun is so key because I believe it was what wrestling fans need. They need to have fun. Basically, what you guys just heard Bully Ray just say, especially in his interview with Chris Van Vliet, is that Marko Stunt is AEW's Spike Dudley, basically. I think Spike Dudley was a lot better than Marko Stunt, to be honest. Mainly because I took Spike Dudley serious in ECW. I mean, he was their giant killer after all. He had those awesome classics with Mike Awesome. And then on top of that, when he came to WWE, he took on his brothers and hooked up with Taz. It was a great time to be a fan when watching the Dudleys, Spike Dudley. I mean, it was just a great time, guys. I mean, I wish I could go back to the 90s and the 2000s just to watch classic WWE, you know, and ECW and WCW. Wait, I can do that on the network, right? Yeah, I could. But damn it, I would want the same excitement that I had back then, too. Oh, well, I'll check it out again, guys, on the network. Alright. Whoa. I'm definitely going to check out this video, guys. The one where I'm looking at right now, the one that's moving on our screen, which is 10 new features to improve on WWE 2K Universe mode. I would love to see this, guys. I just do. And that's just because, you know, there's a lot of things that people are suggesting to 2K right now to make the 2K game better. So I would suggest checking out this video if you guys could. And that's from Smack Dogs. Jim Cornette's going to be talking about Eddie Guerrero on YouTube today as far as from his episode 331. Also today, they have a video of Vader talking about when Hogan double crossed him in WCW on title match wrestling. And also, if you guys are fans of Kagi films, Kagi decided to go on Prince Vegeta's Pick Up Women video. I already saw this video, guys, and I'll tell you this, it was funny to see Vegeta trying to be picking up women, you know? Also, what else we got here? This one's old. This was a day ago. If you guys... Well, actually, this is from Up Culture. Okay, they're going to talk about 10 things they learned from the Dark Side of the Ring of Owen Hart's story. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, there's guys who have Owen Hart's documentary on YouTube right now. If you guys can, go check it out if you need to, you know. Mark Henry on Friendship with The Rock was about one day ago on DJ Vlad. And then on top of that, we also have this video to check out. If you guys want to watch some good stuff, classic stuff that you ain't going to watch on the network, this UWF Beach Brawl was actually a good show. I actually just watched it a couple days ago, and I thought it was a great show. As you can see, there's Dr. Death. I mean, just, you know, there's a lot of good stuff. And most of you guys who know, the UWF did not survive due to the owner being involved with cocaine. And that would be, is it Herb? Yeah, Herb Apes, you know. Frick. He was on Dark Side of the Ring not too long ago. But if you guys want to check out a show that's not WWE, right there is a good one. Christian reveals if he has spoken to CM Punk about returning. And this is what he had to say on CM Punk. I have been on with him a couple times. And we have always been cool with each other. I've never talked to him about it as it's not my business. But I think wrestling fans have always wanted to see him back. But it's up to him. And at the end of the day, it's a big step. If he wanted to even entertain doing something within the wrestling walls, and he's done that with backstage, so I think people should just be happy to see him back at that. And who knows what happens in the future. I agree with Christian on that because, you know, ultimately it's going to be CM Punk's decision or whether if he's going to go back into wrestling, even if he goes into an indie show to wrestle. On top of that, I think he's probably going to have to be the one to go and fix up his relationship with Vince and Triple H, even though I think they should, but I don't know if they're ever going to do that. But as far as that goes, I mean, it's basically on Punk at this time. And we should leave it at that. And, you know, he's already done something already by coming back to backstage, so I'm happy with that. I mean, just to hear CM Punk on the mic and hear his music again, that's fucking awesome, you know? And it's not a UFC setting. For obvious reasons, folks. I don't think CM Punk was a good fit for UFC. Though it was funny when people had memes about bringing Straight Edge Society because of John Jones. Oh, man. Also, Christian mentions the cinematic matches. In this situation, it certainly helps change up the look of the environment. It gives it a different feel. I thought the Boneyard match was unbelievable. I thought Funhouse match was completely different. What I thought it was going to be in a good way. It was so out there. I thought it was really good as well. In this situation, I think it's necessary. But with the success of them, there will definitely be a place for them when things go back to the way they were. It's not something I want to see on a weekly basis, as I don't want it to become just a regular thing. I want it to become special. So basically what Christian is saying, I think, and I agree, you make the cinematic matches special. Make them make them a rare thing, you know. Like I'm saying, when you do this match, make sure the storyline complements it well so it becomes special. And that's what we got with the last 3 cinematic matches from WWE. I think you're going to get that with the AEW matches too. But that's just my opinion. Alright, more on AEW backstage on Britt Baker. Well, this is on the Observer Radio. Following AEW Dynamite. So, Phoenix has been injured his hip after an outside dive on a group of wrestlers after his match with Orange Cassidy. And Phoenix is banged up, but will likely still work the casino ladder match. So if you guys were worried about Phoenix, he's still going to work the match. I don't know if he's going to be out after, though. That's the one thing I don't know. And this is the Observer Radio. As far as Britt Baker goes, she was favoring her knee during her tag team match when Chris Stanlander and Hikaru Shida tossed Nyla Rose onto her. Rose seemed to land with all her weight on Baker's knee. Baker's right knee was already bent upon impact. As of right now, she's still slated to face Stanlander on Saturday, but she still needs to get evaluated by a doctor because it looks like a pretty serious knee injury. If that's the case, guys, I would keep in mind, if that's the case, then that match is probably going to change come the day of, if anything. Or the day before. So they might change it they might come up with a new plan for it. So keep in mind, subject to change for Britt Baker and her match this Saturday with Chris Stanlander. And then Matt Jackson, who dove off a wall with Nick onto the inner circle, suffered some sort of rib injury. It's either bruised, torn cartilage, or a break. He did take some shots to the rib after the spot and looked to be legitimately in pain as the program came to an end. He will be evaluated today, and he is also scheduled to be part of the Stadium Stampede match on Saturday. So if he's out, guys, it's because he has hurt his rib. So keep in mind on that for Saturday's show. All right, now the Inner Circle has a message for the Elite, which has been said right here. Nick, nice surprise, Matt and Nick Jackson, out of their holes, back in AEW for the first time in 2 months. And then you've got Hangman Page with berry stains all over his fingers, attacking us from behind, beer belly blazing in the wind. Look at this, man. Look at this, man. Points to Jake Hager. Look how ripped he is, how chiseled and jacked. Wait and see what happens when it's fair and square on Saturday at the Stadium Stampede. None of this behind the back grab ass bullshit. Yeah, stop grabbing my ass, Matt. It's now the Inner Circle versus the Elite 5-on-5. No more dirty tricks. Elite, you sons of bitches. We'll see you on Saturday. And you're not gonna like what happens because your world will never be the same again. Sorry, I had to go on and be troll version of Chris Jericho to do this and be a Jerry troll right there. But basically, I can actually see Chris Jericho getting mad and saying shit like that, so that's why I went off and just did it the way that it was. But this is gonna be some fun shit come Stadium Stampede on Saturday, and the fact that Chris Jericho is beyond pissed, guys. If you really want to watch the full message, the real message of this, it's on this video on All Elite Wrestling's social media page on Twitter. Overall, I think Jericho was thinking something on the lines of that. I mean, I don't know if I overhyped it, I'm trying to pretend to be him, but you know for a fact it's on like Donkey Kong come Saturday. All right, last on our podcast show here right now. Yeah, the reason why I call it podcast now is because we've gone almost an hour, almost a lot of the times here. I think the shortest has been a half an hour, but we're going to go on to it. And I think we might be going in a long run right now with Vince Russo here, because he critiques WWE and AEW for the arena shows, the empty arena shows. And this is what he had to say. It perhaps is the worst thing I've ever seen. It's god awful, bro. The sad thing is there are things that they could do that they are not doing, bro. Get the frig out of that building. Shoot some character pieces. Shoot some story pieces. Everybody in that company has an iPhone. They can all shoot stuff on their own and send it in. How the biggest flaw is they aren't showing how the wrestlers and staff deal with the virus. The biggest flaw, bro, with both these companies, because it's the wrestling bubble, bro. The biggest flaw is them not dealing with the issue at the hand. That's the biggest flaw, bro. The show should be about wrestling companies, people, human beings that are trying to deal with this virus, bro, like everybody else. That should be the backdrop of the shows. The fact that they're trying to put on these shows and we are supposed to ignore what's going around us, it's just how ingrained they are in the wrestling bubble, bro. How talent doesn't get over by what they do in the wrestling matches. You don't get anybody over by what they do in the ring, especially when they're doing it in a ring in front of nobody. Bro, you're going to sit there and tell me that you're going to get Angel Garza and Theory and Andrade over by just putting them out there, bro, to wrestle every week. That's not how you get people over. The only people who care about wrestling matches are the people that are watching now, bro. That's the only people that care. Last week, WWE did 1.6 million people. You're never going to grow your audience with an audience alone. You're never going to grow your audience with wrestling alone, and Vince McMahon knows that, bro. An example of how WWE create a real storyline around Sami Zayn not wanting to work in these conditions. Now we're here. Now we're heard stories that Sami Zayn is one of those guys that doesn't want to go work in these conditions. Okay, can we interview Sami Zayn, bro? Are you kidding me? If they're talking to Sami Zayn and we're talking about, bro, you're going to be forced now to give up his title. You've made a statement. You don't want to go to the arena, bro. I'm interested in what Sami has to say, bro. He's a human being. He's a family. He has a family. Now, he's being stripped of something which he doesn't know if he's going to return to a job. I want to hear that. That's interesting to me. But you're going to put on an 18-minute fake fight where we already know who's going to win the match, bro. And that's supposed to be more interesting to me, bro, than something that's real, bro. Come on, man. Come on, bro. Do I have to agree with Shitstain here, guys? Do I? He's right. WWE should probably do some storylines based on what people are doing on COVID-19. But I don't think people want to know about COVID-19 too much. I mean, here's the thing about YouTube right now. They're getting on our asses here as content makers and content providers. Guys, if you are a content maker, tell me you do not get this in your studio. In your guys' YouTube studio where they have suggestions about how to handle COVID-19 or what the coronavirus is going on with, you know? A lot of guys are not even mentioning the fucking virus right now because they don't want us mentioning the coronavirus. And the fact of the matter is, I just call it COVID-19 for a reason because that's its actual name that we're dealing with versus a coronavirus, because coronavirus can be anything as simple as a common cold. Because that's what has come out as studies as far as it goes. I don't choose to talk about that much because it's like, when I do talk about it, it's because how it's affecting the rest of the world, or in fact the wrestling world. But as far as talking about it, I don't want to talk about it. Hands down. And quite honestly, I think a lot of people, in general, when it comes to entertainment on YouTube, they don't bring it up because it could get them marked from YouTube by talking about coronavirus. As far as WWE, they're probably not going to do that because there's going to be a lot of people maybe getting upset with that whole thing. I don't know what Russo's thinking in general, but he likes something that's real. Well, fuck. Why don't you tell us how you're handling the coronavirus, bro? Let us know. Fucking, why don't you stop being an ass in some cases? But he is right, guys. I mean, maybe WWE should show some videos. Maybe once in a while have maybe 2 or 3 segments about wrestlers at home handling with family and the coronavirus. Hell, show a video of Roman Reigns or something. You know? Or show something from the Young Bucks house. I mean, that's what they should be doing. I guess I agree with that. But, you know, when you say no one's interested in a fake fight, I mean, to me, it's like, now are you trying to be Dana White of the UFC or some shit, you know? Quite honestly, that would have been great to do that for Sami Zayn. I think that would have been entertaining. But in general, guys, I don't know if Vince Russo knows what's going on as far as content making. I'm pretty sure he's going to bitch about it because I bitched about Russo. But the fact of the matter is this. I mean, fact of the matter is this. He's not working for the company, and I don't see him trying to apply for a job. That's just my honest opinion. As far as AEW goes, they've made it clear they don't want him. So, and, you know, I can't say anything more about this in general. Then, Vince Russo wants real in wrestling. Well, how about make real storylines that ain't convoluted and ain't made of the Jerry Springer show? You know, that's just my honest opinion. Alright, guys, that will be it for today's wrestling news today. And yeah, it's almost been an hour. So, question of the day is, what do you think of Dave Meltzer now because of how Ric Flair has basically went on his own and to confirm that he has officially re-signed with WWE? Or do you think Meltzer knows something that most people don't know? You know? Also, I'll add this in because we're ending with it. What do you guys think of Vince Russo? Do you think he's right, or do you think he's full of shit still? Other than that, guys, y'all take care. Hit a like, subscribe, leave a comment, leave your thoughts below. Y'all enjoy your day, and you know what? Take care and God bless. Thank you for watching. Love you all.